My name is Andy Hornby, photographer and vlogger. 15 years ago I started teaching myself photography. Today I travel the UK as a professional wedding photographer, landscape photographer and filmmaker. Learn from my experiences, my mistakes and my tips and advice. Join me on my photography adventures. Hi there and welcome to another video. This one is in response to a few questions I got on my first video regarding the A7 III. That first video was about the focusing system on this thing. I got to admit I was quite impressed. I used the burst mode quite a bit and people were asking questions about the buffer. Things like, are you shooting compressed, are you shooting uncompressed? You know, what's the difference with the buffer, how many shots can you get, and just things like that really. Also, can you still shoot when the buffer is buffering? So I want to answer those questions in a very short video today. And as you can see, it's a nice day. I've come out to do some landscape stuff with this actually. So in my next video, look out for that if you're interested in landscape photography. I'm going to review this camera as a landscape photography camera and see if it stacks up for that. So if you're interested in that, stick around for the next video. So subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to get that update later on after this video comes out. So just quickly explaining what happened in my last video. I was looking at the focusing system, which is really good on this, and to do that I wanted to take it into burst mode. Now this shoots 10 frames a second, and in burst mode you can only get so many shots before the camera pretty much stops, and then those files are being written to the card. So I don't have a fast card in this as well, so that will make a difference. The card I have in this is the and I'll put a picture up, is the SanDisk Extreme 64GB 90 millisecond. So it's not the best on the market, so if you buy better you might have better performance, but this is the kind of shot these cards are really cheap, so this is the kind of cards that most people are using at the moment. So for me this is a real world test of that. We're going to set up in a second, shooting with this. I'm going to record with that, which is my Sony A7iii II. So we're shooting in 4K, so you get a really good quality video today, and hopefully this will answer some of the questions you people are asking me. So let's go for a wander and do this, shall we? So as you can see on there, I'm shooting RAW and JPEG at the moment, right into one card, and I'm uncompressed, and my JPEG quality is fine. I know you can use the menu system, but be warned, while it's buffering there are some functions on the menu system you can't use. You can't change a lot of things like whether you want to be compressed or uncompressed, that kind of stuff. So you can go through the menu system, but a lot of the stuff on there is unusable. Let's do that same test again. Again, that's about 60-61 frames I took. And it's buffering on there. You may not be able to see it now. Some people have said that the buffering on this is really slow. Actually, it's quite fast. For a Sony system, this is going down, this is right into the card really fast. On my A7iii II, it doesn't write anywhere near as fast as this. It will take a long time. And on the A7iii II, you cannot use any function at all. Pretty much menu system's down. You can't see the playback. With this I can actually view the playback while it's buffering. Some files that aren't already on the card you can't view for obvious reasons, it's not written to the card yet, but that's already done, that's already buffered 60 frames. Now I'm going to do the same test again, and I'm going to see if I can still use the shutter, because some people have said that once it's buffering you can't take more shots, and I want to prove that wrong, so let's do that again. Again, about 61 frames, and look, I can still take shots. It's not as fast, obviously you're not going to get your 10 frames a second, it's just going to go back up to that 60 frames. You let it go down a little bit longer and you can take some more. Again, you know, it will just keep taking probably one a second while I'm buffering if I hold the shutter down like that, but if I let it go, let it buffer a little while, I can then do burst again. So it's actually really good, quite intuitive, and despite what some people think, a lot better than most of the systems out there at the moment. When the bride and groom are kissing at a wedding, I'll probably take 5 or 6 shots in burst to make sure I get at least one. But I rarely use the burst mode like this. So that's the other thing you need to ask yourself, guys. Would you actually need to use burst mode like this? So what I'm going to do now, switch it over into compressed, so the file size is smaller. Bear in mind the uncompressed file size of these are roughly about 60-65 megabytes, which isn't as big as the A7iii. Bear in mind the A7iii and the A7iii have a larger sensor. Again, you've got to come back to how often would you use this. So let's switch it over to compressed and see if we get any better. So I'm now in compressed. File sizes should be roughly half the size of the uncompressed file sizes. That's dependent on what's in the picture. Obviously, if you've got a lot of contrast in the picture, your file sizes are generally larger anyway. But let's have a quick go at this, see what we get. That's slightly better. Definitely more than 60. So we're looking at 128 I got there. And it's buffering a lot quicker. Obviously the file size is smaller, it's going to write those files a lot quicker to the card. And also bear in mind that if you had a better, faster card, this buffer would be even quicker than this. This is actually really good for what I'm taking, and for my purposes. I'm never going to want to take 120 odd pictures in a row. I don't understand anyone that would. Potentially sports photographers, I don't know. The purposes of this test, you got to say this is pretty damn awesome. I don't know any system at the moment which will buffer this fast and still shoot, still use the menu system to a degree. I think you'll be looking at the sort of A9 sort of area. So the A7iii came out a little while ago. I think that's got a pretty much similar buffer, although the file sizes are a lot bigger, so it takes a lot longer to buffer those ones. But this has actually proven really good today. I'm really happy, and let's get into some kind of conclusion. Okay, so there you have it. I've got to say I'm pretty impressed with this camera overall, but the buffer system on this is pretty damn good. I had questions after people saw the buffer on this in my first video when I reviewed it, and they were saying that it's really bad, but in fact if you haven't shot with mirrorless before, you don't really know. If you've shot with Sony mirrorless, the buffer on these things when you're shooting burst, it can take a long time, and this thing really does a good job. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please slap a thumbs up on it. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you get updates every time I upload a new video. Please stick around for my next video if you're interested in landscape photography, because I'm going to take this camera through its paces today. I've got a workshop this afternoon. If you're interested in any of my workshops, please take a look at this link. I'll put on screen right here for you, and up the top there. And if you're interested, please get in touch. I do landscape workshops. I also do wedding photography workshops as well, so if you're interested in that, let me know. I've got one coming up in April down near Southampton if you're in the UK, and I'll be using this camera. So if you're interested in seeing what this camera can do, that would be an awesome opportunity for you. And if you want to get your hands on it, maybe I might let you use it, you never know. So until the next video, guys, keep shooting, and I'll see you soon. Take care, bye.